What's up, y'all? Been a cool little minute since I made a video, man. Just take a deep breath real quick. Speaking of deep breaths, I just got a new air purifier in my apartment, and night one has been pretty solid. I slept like a baby last night. Don't even remember falling asleep, which is a good sign, right? And I got a fresh cut, so I'm feeling myself, looking good, whatnot, blah blah blah. Anyways, this job market is looking kind of crazy, right? Everyone's talking about they're not getting paid enough, inflation's going through the roof, which is true, but also the unemployment rate on paper is super low nowadays because the filings being reported are saying that employers are always hiring people. There's no shortage of jobs because all these companies are looking for new people to work. But keep in mind, these jobs that that these employers are looking to fill are probably low-paying jobs, minimum wage, not much experience needed. These are jobs that no one really wants anymore because they can't afford to live with that type of job, and they'd rather get unemployment benefits from the government than working and living below their means or living under their unemployment base of income, right? So what I wanted to talk about in this video was fake postings for jobs. So I just found out, as you guys know, there's been a mass layoff in tech. Facebook, Google, all these tech companies are laying people off by the dozens, right? By the hundreds, honestly. And at the same time, in the same time period, they're always saying that you see all these urgently hiring signs. People are saying Gen Z does not want to work anymore, and rise of social media influencers, people not trying to clock into work, they'd rather work remotely and all this. So I just wanted to talk about it because I don't understand these companies. Well, I just did some research, right, and I found out that a lot of these companies will post fake jobs on LinkedIn, Indeed, or whatever on their own career site, just to get an influx of resumes, right? To kind of feed through them, see if there's any potential leads for later down the line, because maybe they can't afford to hire new people right now, or maybe they're doing perfectly fine with the amount of people they have right now, or they're trying to phase out of hiring people so that they can use more AI, right? So this is not a good experience if you're applying to jobs right now. That's why so many people are saying I'm applying to 1,000 jobs and I've heard back from like 5, and I got 1 interview and 0 jobs out of it. It's because a lot of these companies have to meet a quota of resumes they receive, or have to meet a quota of jobs postings that are up, but they don't necessarily have to bring people on, apparently, right? This is just based on my research. They don't have to. There's people who work for these companies as recruiters who are getting told, hey, upload this new sales position onto our website, right? But then come to find out that the recruiter isn't actually supposed to do any interviews with these people. What they want the recruiters to do is get the resumes sent to them, so they have a fat stack of resumes to go through, and maybe out of 1,000 there's one person who's maybe even overqualified and that they can underpay. That's the one person that they'll reach out to, right? As opposed to the other 999 who are just as not just as qualified, but qualified enough for the job, but the company doesn't have the bandwidth to hire new people or train new people, right? So they'll keep that stack of 1,000 resumes for a later date, right? So if you're applying to a job and you're expecting, the most common thing you get from a job that you just applied to is, hey, we received your application, thank you for applying, stand by shortly, and we appreciate your interest in the job, right? And 99% of the time, that's as far as you get, right? So it's just very discouraging if you're just applying to jobs just online. So that's also why I wanted to talk about just like expanding your network. And I know a lot of people might be like born into it or surrounded by it, by like their school they grew up, or the school they went to, or the city they grew up in. But if you're in a situation where you're in a medium to large population city, right, and you have some sort of social skills, you enjoy people skills and networking and all that, I would just suggest going outside and striking up conversations with the intent of landing a job, right? For example, in the construction industry, I meet a bunch of people who are like front desk receptionists and have no interest in construction, right? They probably wouldn't have even applied for a construction front desk job just because it's the word construction's in there, right? So what I'm saying is, if you knew someone who owned a construction business, or you ran into someone and you had like a smile on your face, you had a positive attitude, and you know you struck up a conversation with them, they let you know, hey, I have a construction business, you know, we always need front desk people, something like that, right? Or even people out in the shop, out in the field, right, doing the work. So these are much more, you have much more of a higher percentage of landing a job like this as opposed to just applying online. And I will admit, most of the jobs I got are from applying online, but keep in mind, these jobs are not high paying jobs that require a lot of you know, background or work experience, right? These are all like minimum wage, college entry level jobs, like fast food, retail, clothing, stuff like that. And my two like quote unquote career jobs that I would have considered like actually pursuing a career in, I didn't apply to them online. First one I got, my uncle knew the guy who owned the business. And then the second one I got, I met them at a career fair, right? I seen them face to face, and you know, they met me in person, right? So these are just two examples of why applying online can be super discouraging. And you know, you should put yourself out there more in the physical, in the real world. You know, go to some underrated industries, right? Like I'm in construction now. I know that I would have never in a million years thought I would be in the construction industry, but stuff like that is like overlooked by most people, especially like college kids who, you know, are trying to be like in an office nowadays. So you don't really think about construction as much, at least where I'm from. You know, in a big city like Los Angeles, you know, that isn't really a train of thought for a lot of people, at least in my circle, right? So, you know, I want you guys to think outside the box, try to meet these people in person, dress nicely, you know, have a smile on your face. These are all factors that come into play when you're looking for a job, right? Because at the end of the day, you are working for somebody, right? And you want to be hireable, right? You want to be someone that people want to work with. So just keep these things in mind. There is a fake job posting crisis right now. I truly believe it. Just off the amount of times I've applied to jobs, it's crazy how often they don't even hit you back after claiming to need someone that I know I'm qualified for, or that, you know, they claim to need someone for the job that I know I'm qualified for. It's just crazy, man, because obviously you want to pad your resume as best as you can, but at the same time, you know, put yourself out there, like I've been saying. Don't fall for these, like, it makes you, it's a false sense of accomplishment, a false sense of, you know, doing something if you're applying 1,000 jobs, in my opinion, because all of these jobs are just stacking resumes, and it's not as fruitful as you might think it might be. So if you're applying to 10,000 jobs a day, try switching up your tactic there, right? Because LinkedIn and Indeed are not the only ways to get jobs nowadays. So keep that in mind. I hope you guys are doing all right. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I know it's kind of tough right now in the economy. You know, people got bills to pay and all that type of stuff. And look for like, do some online courses like Course Careers. That's cool. I'm not even sponsored by them, but I hear about them all the time on YouTube. And yeah, reach out if you have any questions about that type of stuff, man. I'll be happy to help. All right, y'all, see y'all on the next one.